It was almost 7:30 at night when Wan came home, exhausted. She went straight to the bedroom and opened the door. Jungkook was there, standing on the balcony, his board bag facing her. A small wave of nervousness washed over Wan. He's already home. Maybe that's why he called me earlier, she thought to herself. But she didn't say anything. Quietly, she placed her bag on the table and went straight to the washroom to freshen up. After a while, Wine stepped out, tying her hair with a towel. Jungkook was now walking back into the room from the balcony. His sharp eyes immediately found hers. Wine froze for a moment, her doe-like eyes meeting his cold gaze. "You are late again," Jungkook said calmly, his voice steady but distant. Wine's heart started to race. "Yeah, actually, we are studying together. I didn't realize how fast time passed," she murmured softly. Jungkook tilted his head slightly, his tone still calm but colder this time. "Did you have dinner?" Wine shallowed nervously, fudging with her fingers. Yeah, actually I had dinner at Mina's house." Jungkook didn't reply immediately. He just stared at her long enough to make her look away. He already knew she was lying again. Jungkook began walking towards her, slow, calculated step, echoing softly through the room. Wine blinked, confused by his sudden approach. Before she could progress what was happening, Jungkook was standing right in front of her, without saying a word, and take into his arms. Wine gasped, her eyes widening in shock. The towel slipped from her trembling hands and fell to the floor. Her heart skipped a beat. "Jungkook," she whispered softly, barely audible. But he didn't respond. Instead, he lifted her effortlessly and carried her towards the bed. Sitting down, One froze, her heart pounding so loudly she could hear it in her ears. Jungkook's arms tightened around her waist, pulling her closer until she could feel his steady heartbeat against her chest. Her hands trembling, clutched at his t-shirt, seeking something to hold onto it. His warm breath brushed faintly against her neck, making her shiver. His tall, shallow figure hovered over her fragile frame, trapping her between his arms and his gaze. Then, in a firm, low voice, calm at edge with a quiet authority, he asked, "Were you really at Mina's house?" Wine's throat went dry. Her palms were streaked with sweat. She couldn't meet his eyes. Instead, she looked away anywhere at him. "Yeah, I was, but—" Jungkook cut her off, but tone colder now. "You know, I'm not a man who beats around the bush. So let's get to the point." Wine's breath hissed, and her eyes met his again, wide and innocent. "Why are you doing part-time jobs?" Her entire body went still, her eyes widened in disbelief. He knew, he knew. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She didn't want him to find out, not like this. Jungkook's gaze didn't soften, his calm voice continued, though there was a subtle trace of concern beneath it. "If you need something, if you want anything, you should come to me. You should just ask." His finger tightened gently at her waist. "Why are you working these part-time jobs? Tell me." Wine's version blurred as tears gathered in her eyes. Her lips quivered, but she couldn't form a single word. Jungkook continued, his voice deep, calm, but heavy with something unspoken. "Do you know how much it's affecting your health? Doing this job, attending university, studying till late." He exhaled quietly. "Do you think I didn't notice the way you came home exhausted every night? How you fall asleep at your study table, completely drained? Do you really think I didn't see any of that?" One lowered her gaze, tears spilling silently down her cheek. Her hands fisted tightly against his chest, trembling with emotion. Jungkook could feel it, the slight shaking of her body, the pain she was trying to hide. His eyes softened. Something wasn't right. "Now tell me," he said quietly but firmly. "Why do you need this part-time job? What happened?" He paused, his tone whispered, "And don't you dare to lie to me again." Wine's breath broke as a tear rolled down her face, falling into his shirt. Her hands trembled against his chest, clutching the fabric tightly. Jungkook could feel his heart racing. Fragile panicked, and he realized something deeper was buried beneath her silence, something he didn't want him to know. Then Wine slowly lifted her teary eyes to look at him. The sight made Jungkook's heart ache. Seeing her tears felt like something had pierced straight through him. In a soft, trembling voice, Wine finally spoke. I want to pay my tuition fees myself. That's why I took this part-time job, so that I can handle it on my own." Jungkook frowned, his brow knitted together in confusion. "What?" he asked in a cold, low tone. Wine nodded weakly. Jungkook's frown deepened. "But I handle everything about your studies," he said. "Then why?" Wine's voice trembled again. "I didn't want to bother you, to make you pay my tuition fees. You have already done so much for me. You have covered all my expenses. I just didn't want to burden you anymore." Jungkook's expression hardened. He had never once made her feel that way. So why she was thinking like that? He reached out, gently cupping her cheek in his palm with his thumb, then wiped her tears streaming down her face. "Burden," he said quietly, his voice tight with disbelief. "Who told you that you are a burden to me? Who told you such a—" Wine turned her face away, avoiding his eyes, but Jungkook didn't let her. He tilted her chin back towards him, making her meet his gaze. "Wine," he said, his voice softer now, but firm. "You are my wife, my other half. You have every right over me, over everything that's mine, and as your husband, it's my responsibility to fulfill every one of your wishes. Even before you ask," his voice dropped lower, more intense. "So what made you think you are a burden to me? In what way are you bothering me?" Wine hesitated, whispering, "I just thought," but Jungkook cut her off sharply. "Did someone say something to you?" Her heartbeat quaking, panic flickered across her face. She couldn't tell him. She couldn't tell him about what his mother said. She quickly shook her head, denied it, but Jungkook saw through it instantly. Her reaction told him everything. "You have been quiet since the day you came back from that party," he said in a calm yet low tone, distance different. "Did someone say something to you there?" Wine's palm began to sweat. Her heart pounded harder. Jungkook leaned closer. "I don't like lies, Wine, and I already told you. Don't you dare to lie to me right now." His gaze was piercing, unwavering. "So tell me," he said, every word measured and heavy. "Did someone say something to you at the party?" The tone of his voice made Wine shiver. She knew there was no escaping this time. She couldn't hide it anymore. Wine didn't want to tell him about his mother. She really didn't. But she had no other choice now. A thousand of thoughts ran through her mind. Would Jungkook even believe me? What if he doesn't? What if he thinks I'm lying? Jungkook's voice broke her thought. It was low, cold. "Tell me." Wine looked down, trembling. Her lips quivered as she slowly began to speak. "That day at the party, your mother came to me," she whispered. "She said that I was already a burden in your life that you are forced to carry, and that she expected that I wouldn't make your life harder than it already is." Jungkook's brow frowned deeply. He froze, shocked by her words. His mother said that? He knew his mother never truly liked Wine, so she never said anything directly, but he had felt it somewhere deep down. But still, he never expected her to go this far. His face clenched, his jaw tightened, his eyes darkened as Wine's trembling voice continued. "But believe me," she cried softly, her voice breaking, "I never wanted to become a burden in your life. I never wanted that." Her sob grew heavier, her shoulders shaking. The sight of her crying like that made Jungkook's chest ache painfully. Without saying a word, he reached forward and pulled her tightly into his arms. Wine gasped softly, but she clutched his shirt in her fist, burying her face against his chest. As a tear soaked through the fabric, Jungkook's voice soft now, calm, and filled with emotion. "You are not wine," he murmured. "You never were, and you never will be." He rubbed her back gently in slow, comforting motion, trying to calm her down. After a while her sobs began to quiet. Her breathing grew steadier, and then in a broken whisper, Wine spoke again. "You know, when I used to live with my uncle and aunt, they always told me I was a burden in their life. I grew up hearing that every day." Jungkook frowned. He never knew about that. Wine continued. "And when your mom said those words to me that day, it made me believe that maybe, like them, I was a burden to you too." Her voice cracked, tears falling again. "I don't know if you will even believe these words, but," Jungkook interrupted her gently but firmly. "I believe you," he said, his voice calm and certain. "I believe every word you said," Jungkook continued. "And remember this one, you are not a burden in my life. You are my wife. What's mine is yours too. You have every right over me, over everything I have, even my life," he said to her with quiet determination. "And from now on, you are not doing that part-time job anymore. I'll handle everything, all of it." Wan didn't say anything, her heart beat faster, her eyes glistening at his word. A small tired sob escaped her lips, and before she even realized it, she had fallen asleep in Jungkook's arms. For a moment, Jungkook just sat there, holding her tightly. He didn't even move. He could hear her soft, uneven breaths against his chest, then a faint little snore that made him look down. She was fast asleep. Jungkook's gaze softened carefully. He had just her in his arms and laid her down on the bed. Then he lay beside her, pulling her close again until she was nestled against his chest. One instinctively waved her arms around his waist. Still asleep, Jungkook's arms tightened around her in return, holding her protectively. But he couldn't sleep. His mind was clouded with everything she had said, his mother's word. Once painful past, the way she grew up believing she was unwanted, it tore him apart inside. He looked down at her sleeping face, fragile and peaceful now. Then he whispered softly, almost to himself, "I promise. From now on, I'll protect you from everything bad in this world. I promise." He pressed a gentle kiss on her forehead. Then, closing his eyes, he finally let the quiet night surround him. The next morning, Jungkook sat in his office, inside his private cabin. The morning sunlight streamed faintly through the glass windows, reflecting off the polished desk. Across from him stood his assistant, Taehyung, speaking his usual professional tone. "Sir, you have a meeting at 3 p.m. with Mr. June to finalize the deal, and in the evening at 6 you cancel it." Jungkook interrupted coldly, without looking up from his file. Taehyung frowned. "But sir, it's—" Jungkook looked up from his file, his gaze icy. "I have to go somewhere. Cancel the meeting." Taehyung nodded silently. "Anything else, sir?" he asked casually. Jungkook leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. His voice dropped lower, calm, composed. "Yes, I want to terminate our deal with Lee Corporation. Liquidate all of their shares, pull out completely." Taehyung's brow frowned in confusion. "Sir, that would cause a massive loss for their company." Jungkook didn't even look up this time. His tone was still icy. "That's not my concern," he said flatly, turning a page in his file as if it were nothing more than a routine task. Taehyung paused, absorbing the weight of his word. Then he nodded. "Understood, sir." With that, he bowed respectfully and left the office, leaving Jungkook alone with his cold resolve. It was already late at night when the doorbell rang at the Jeon mansion. Mrs. June hurried to open the door, only to find Jungkook standing there, his face cold, hard, and unreadable. Her expression flickered with a mix of confusion and a strange happiness. Jungkook, son, you at this hour? What happened? Come inside. Jungkook didn't answer. He stepped silently into the living room. Mr. June, who had been sitting on the couch, stood up, surprise evident on his face. Jungkook, what a surprise at this late hour. Jungkook's gaze shifted to his mother, his eyes sharp and piercing. What did you tell Wayne at the party? Mrs. June froze. Her heart skipped a beat. She hadn't expected him to comfort her about this. What? Mrs. June stammered, shuddering. What are you talking about, Jungkook? Jungkook's hands were tucked into his pocket, his expression calm, almost cold. What happened? Did something happen? Mr. June asked again, his voice deep. Yes, Dad. Jungkook replied evenly. That's why I came here, to clear something up. He turned back to his mother. At that party, did you tell Wayne that she is a burden in my life? Mr. June frowned and glanced at his wife. Mrs. June sighed. Yes, I told her. She admitted, trying to sound casual. So what, didn't she? Jungkook's voice dropped deep. No. Did I ever say something like that? Then how could you tell her such a thing? Mrs. June tried to defend herself. Because you are forced to marry her. Isn't it obvious she is a burden in your life? Jungkook cut her off sharply, his voice loud, cold, and commanding. She is my wife. Stop calling her that. Mr. June's expression as he turned to his wife. How could you say that to such an innocent girl? Mrs. Jones get nervous under his gaze. I thought I just. Jungkook's calm, cold voice stopped her. I just come here to tell you, never ever say anything like that to my wife again. I expected this from you. He reminded her of the exact words she had used towards Wayne. Mr. June turned and placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. His voice soft. Don't worry, son. It won't happen again, and I'm happy for you. Take care of her. Jungkook nodded. Mrs. June listened without a word. She quietly left the living room without another word. Mr. June watched her go, then turned back to Jungkook. Don't worry. I'll try to make her understand. Don't worry about her. Jungkook nodded once again, his expression calm yet cold. I'll take my leave then. Mr. June inclined his head. Then Jungkook walked out of the mansion.